In the meantime, my name is Barb Smutek, and if you are on the phone, if you can please mute your phone line for the moment. And also, if you can please check and ensure that your full name is listed in the participant list. If you need to do any edits, in the upper right-hand corner, you can choose Edit My Info to enter your first and last name. You can also enter your grantee name. All phone lines will be muted soon, but please use the chat box for any questions or comments. So like I said, good morning and good afternoon. My name is Barb Smutek, and this is a SAMHSA Native Connections grantee webinar. Along with the Native Connections team and our SAMHSA contracting officer representatives, Maureen Madison and Jan Dunbar Cooper, we extend a warm welcome to all of you. Excuse me. My slides have gotten a little out of order here, so please excuse me. Welcome to the Native Connections Harvesting Wisdom Meeting the Challenge webinar. It is April 23rd, 2020. And like I said, my name is Barb Smutek, and I'll be our moderator for today's webinar. And instructions for participating. This is the dial-in number that you can use to participate with your audio. You can use this number to dial in on your phone. You can also listen in on your PC speakers. However, you will not be able to participate using audio if you do that. However, there will be a video later in this webinar where you will need to use your PC speakers to hear the audio for the video. And we'll give you a reminder for that. But just to make sure and help get everyone connected, if at any point anyone needs support with staying connected or audio connections, we do have support on hand to help, and just let us know in the chat box. So, excuse me, at the end of this webinar, there will be a question and answer session to allow time for presenters to answer any questions you may have. Now, allow me to introduce the person who is opening our webinar today, Peter Lenkik, who is Hunkpati Dakota from the Crow Creek Sioux in South Dakota. And he's graciously agreed to open our virtual gathering in a good way.
Ready?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Hamitakiapi, my relatives, I just want to say I love you and thank you for allowing me to be a part of your day. I was asked to do an opening prayer. I realize that in these times, everybody has their own needs, and I don't know what those needs are. So I am going to sing a prayer song, a very ancient prayer song that was given to us by the Horse Nation. And I wanted to sing that song, and while I'm singing this song, you guys will make your own prayers and send them off in your way. So I'll sing this song. A long time ago, a lot of good things, a lot of beautiful powerful things always came out of times like this, when we're when survival is on the line, when bad things were occurring and happening. And it always seems like at that time something comes that gives us relief, gives us hope, strength, and courage, and helps us to get through these times. And it was one of these times long ago when the Horse Nation was out on the prairie, and they heard something on the wind. And so they followed that sound, and as they got closer, they could tell it was women that were crying. And these horses came upon our camp, and were really moved by what was happening in our camp, and wanted to help. And the only way they knew how to help us at that time was to make a prayer, make a request to the Creator on our behalf. And they did that through this song. And so they sang this song in the hopes that the Creator would have pity on us, and that the Creator would be moved by this song. And sure enough, the Creator was very moved by this song and took pity on us and helped us to get through that winter at that time. And then when it was over, the horses came back and came to the elder women in our camp and gave us this song, and they taught us this song, and they told us to use it when things were bad, but also use it when things were good. And so this is the song that I chose to sing for this morning. It's a prayer song. We call it the Creator Song. And what it says is, Creator, I pray to you first to live life to the fullest in this day you have given me with all my relatives. And so this is that song. Deamtiduta kimit ta opida tanka oeda kuoka da kushkashka heta timaka wate ho yewaye oa wachekia odamaki waka tanka toka heya che wakiedo hae Waka taka toka heya che wakiedo hai hemi taku ye op wanikta cha toka heya che wakiedo hai Waka tanka toka heya che wakiedo hai Waka tanka toka heya che wakiedo hai Emi taku ye op Wanikta chatoka heya che wakiedo hai Omitakuye onse. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicolette, for that beautiful opening, Mr. Lingik.
Thank you.
Now that we have had that beautiful opening for our webinar, we're going to move on to our introductions. We have 3 Native Connections grantee technical assistants on today. We have Hunter, Chanel, and Dave, who will all be introducing themselves. And Hunter, would you like to start?
Hello, Miigwech. Thank you, everyone, for being here today, and I have the honor and the privilege to work with 10 Native Connections grantees across the United States, and just feel very blessed to do this Native wellness work with our people. And thank you for coming today. Chanel?
Thanks, Hunter. Good morning, Native Connections grantees. I hope your Thursday is going well. I am Chanel Ford. I'm a grantee technical assistant on the Native Connections project, and I reside in Spokane, Washington. Thank you all for joining us today. I'll pass it over to Dave.
Aho, ho, matakiapi, machante, waste, nape, chuzapalo. Dave Braveheart here, grantee technical assistants. I want to give a shout out and a big thank you to Peter Lenkik for singing that beautiful song and telling a little story how it helped the people. Little Wopla Tonka for that. Appreciate that. And I know you need to jump off. So thank you for joining us, Peter, and hope you can deal with the crisis that has come up. Oh. So we are truly grateful that you all have joined us at this time. And the prayer and the song that was given earlier really kind of shows how the kind of people that we are in our own communities, because I know that we all have our own songs, our way of prayer and things like that help us do this during these times, and really speaks to our resiliency. We are a very resilient people. All of our nations are resilient, and so we are here. We are definitely here. One of the things that I wanted to share with you to get us started off in a good way, I know that we all can probably share some stories that speak to resiliency within our communities, within our families, within our extended families, within our history of our people. But today, I want to share a story about my grandma. Her name was Elizabeth Tyan McBride. She's Oglala Lakota. She spent a lot of her life on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, as well as the Crow Creek Sioux Tribe Reservation, the tribe that Peter Lemke is from. And, she was a very respected person. She didn't drink, and, she took care of a lot of foster kids and things like that. When kids needed home, she was always there and willing to help care for them, even some of her own grandchildren. She always had food and coffee, and anybody come visit, she was always offering something to drink or something to eat, and always welcome with the saying, said, "Hey, my relative," or for me, she'll say, "Tacos, it was really good to see you." She was that kind of a person, very generous and thoughtful and kind. She belonged to a quilting society for many years, and they were always making quilts for different occasions and for families who may have lost a loved one. Quilts were very prominent in our way of honoring our people when they passed on to the spirit world. So, one day she called us and let us know that doctor diagnosed cancer in her left arm, and so she had to have her arm amputated. And there was a slow recovery for her, and she survived it. And yet, she was kind of one of those people that just kept smiling, was telling stories and jokes and laughed, and kept a positive presence about herself despite the loss of her arm. And she didn't give up on quilting. She was determined to make a quilt with one arm, and she was able to do that along with the help of the quilting society she belonged to, and the other women helped her. But she quilted several quilts with one arm, which was pretty amazing. But that was what she wanted to do and what she wanted to accomplish before she had to, she eventually succumbed to the cancer and things like that, because it totally did go away. And during that time, when I got to go visiting with her, she told me some stories, and she told me even a joke that I couldn't believe she would tell me. And it was just really made me laugh, made me feel good. And then she gave me an eagle feather, so I wanted you to have this eagle feather, which I'm holding right now in my hand. I wanted you to use this because it helped me. I don't need it anymore. It needs to be passed on. So, I remember that, and the courage and the strength that she really personified, despite her own health, and I was pretty amazed. But I wanted to share that story with you, but I know that each and every one of you probably have a story of resiliency, even right now amidst the national crisis that we're going through right now. So if you could provide an example of some resiliency that you are seeing or demonstrating in your community, if you could put that in the chat box, that would be awesome. We want to hear what's happening in your community that personifies resiliency. If you could do that, that would be awesome. Thank you so much. And while they're typing, maybe someone else has a quick example of a resiliency that they're seeing in their community from the team, the presenters. Roberto Moto says, our young men went out and harvested caribou and made sure every household got some of the catch. Wow, that's really awesome. People looking after each other and going to the lengths to make sure everybody has something. Amber Molina, hi Amber. Here at Fresno American Indian Health Project, we didn't stop services. We switched to telehealth instead in order to still serve our community. Well, that's very awesome. Mark Goki, our fishing fleet has no restaurant customers, so they sent their catch out to the community. Wow, what a great example of people reaching out and helping each other. Allison Kelly, hi Allison. People sewing masks for others, helping elders with food and transportation. That's really awesome. Madeline Mainhart, 2 of our elders have signed waivers to continue to support elder programs. That is very awesome. Dallas, the Sisters in Wahpeton Oyate distributed food to elders and families with young children. My district went out to get special supplies like toilet paper and masks. Thank you, Dallas. Vanessa in Tushku Bay, we hope I said that right. We cut out toddler mitten patterns for youth to make at home. They were put in Ziploc bags for them to pick up. This gives parents or grandparents work with their children and teach them how to sew. Wow, what another great example of taking care of the people. Lisa Bear, volunteers are giving out lunch and breakfast to children in the community. That is awesome. Wow. So thank you for sharing those. I know there's probably others too that have some stories, but I respect your time. I would like to just move us forward from resiliency into what we want to accomplish through this webinar. Our objectives today is to provide an opportunity for peer grantees to learn from each other, gain knowledge and ideas, and network, and increase knowledge and awareness of strengths-based planning and resilience, which we are seeing so far through the things they have shared with us. And then also to provide a forum for all grantees to feel supported and acknowledged during this challenging time. So this is really about you and bring this all together in a good way. So with that, I think I would like to pass this on to Hunter, who will be asking the first question that we have for you.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you. And thank you to Jeff for opening us up in an awesome way. That's all we could hope for, is open up in a prayerful way and honor our nativeness and our native Imadaziwin, good way of living. And I also want to acknowledge Elima Bird and Tanya Kirk for showing other forms of resilience that you're doing in your community. We really appreciate that. And the ones that are listening on the call today, you can continue to fill that in if you'd like, because all that beautiful, awesome ideas and sharing that you're doing is going to be shared with other grantees who may not have been able to join us today. So Chimigwech for sharing your wisdom with us. One of the things, we want to acknowledge SAMHSA and Maureen and our GPOs have been very flexible and open to our ideas as GTAs that often get shared with us from our grantees. And so we really appreciate their support, and just want to say Chimigwech, which means thank you in our language, to SAMHSA for helping us out here today. And this, from what I understand, this might be a reoccurring national virtual meeting call that may pick up some steam, and so you may see some announcements coming soon to continue this national support for all of our grantees in one virtual room. So keep an eye out for that. So we do have a question, because we want to make sure that we honor all of you, and this is about you. This is about how we can support you, how we can support each other. And what we'd like to ask you is, in the chat box to the right of the center, if you could share with us what is either one hope or wish or need that you have from today's webinar, from today's gathering of wisdom. And we'd like for you to share with us, what is a hope or a wish or need that you have, and we're going to try to honor that as best as we can. And we have five wonderful presenters, grantee presenters, your peers, that are going to share a little bit of their wisdom with you today, and on how they're making it, how they're showing resilience, how they're thinking out of the box and being creative, and still being able to meet their Native Connection grantees' needs, their community needs. So we'd really like to hear from all of you, all the grantees, to share with us what's one hope, one wish, or need that you have for today's gathering, virtual gathering. And we'll give you a couple minutes here we see people are typing away, so we'll give that a minute to populate and share some of those. And we're going to ask our grantee peer presenters to kind of keep an eye on that, what your peers are sharing, so that you might be able to include that in your presentation. And we're also going to have an opportunity to hear from all the other grantees, like we are here, an opportunity to even ask questions. And we're going to really encourage all of you, if you see something that you like that's being shared, write down that person's name, write down that grantee. We want you to really take advantage of today. We want you to network outside of your region. Even if they're not in your region, there's an opportunity here to connect and set up some calls after to work together and share some more ideas. So Barb talks about inspiration that comes from the peer-to-peer sharing. Lima Bird, more ideas on how to continue delivering services. Roberta on ideas on how to stay connected with our youth and communities. Aubrey, to gather ideas that can possibly be implemented. Mark Goki, any and all ideas. That guy, he wants it all. Jody Larson, hoping to find ways to support parents and caregivers with children in the home. I'm also wondering if there's some way to contribute from our community to PEATS, like donate local food pantries. Is there a way to donate to South Dakota, etc.? Amanda, ideas on how to connect with community and youth. And Ingrid, identifying outcome measures for resilience building with youth. And Madeline has a link there. You can open at your own risk. Hey, just kidding. But so those are things that we're definitely going to touch on today. The grantee presenters are definitely going to touch on. And all of that, we hope that you will come away with adding some of that wisdom to your basket so that you can share that out with your community. Continue to go ahead and fill that in. And at this time, I'm going to turn this over to Chanel to introduce our first grantee presenter. Chanel?
Great. Thank you so much, Hunter. And thank you all for the input and the feedback. I think there's a lot of great wishes today, and I have the joy and pleasure of introducing our grantee presenters. And first off, we have a very diverse individual here. His name is Andrew Lee. He is the Wellness Coordinator from Silwalk and Kivalina. So I will turn it over to you, Andrew, to go ahead and share what your program is doing.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, you sound great.
Very good. Very good. Good morning, everyone. My name is Andy Lee. Chak Ish is my Tlingit name, but I do work in the with a couple of people that are online today, good friends Tanya and Roberta, and my work is in the Northwest Arctic, primarily in the villages of Selawik and Kivalina. We've been very challenged by the virus, as everyone has, but one of the things we wanted to do early on was to get engaged locally in supporting each other. And I think one of the first things that came along in every community was the school closure, but the provision of school lunches. And in our communities, sometimes staffing is an issue. So we were able to get volunteers from our wellness teams and from the community to sustain those school lunch programs and extend them out to 7 days instead of the 5 school days. And one of the other issues was to supplement those meals with either food from the store or food from not only the lunch program, but we also established a larger food bank. And our food bank has had some challenges because our villages are somewhat remote, and our region lost one of our 2 major airlines, went bankrupt. And so that made it even more of a challenge to get goods and products in. So we took that challenge on of making sure that everyone, not just school children, had 1 solid meal per day. That's extended additionally now to 17 to 25 prepared hot meals for elders daily delivered to their homes by volunteers. And again, practicing social distancing and safety measures in preparing the meals, delivering the meals, with the additional challenge of winter weather and spring breakup. That goes on 7 days a week. And I know that yesterday they had a fabulous meal. They sent me a picture of, meat and gravy and fresh fruit and vegetables. And those meals are delivered, hot. And I know that there's great appreciation on the part of the elders. But secondary to the meal is a daily check-in with families and elders to make sure that everyone's okay and that they have the things that they need to maintain their health and safety. Additionally, we have Hunter sharing, and I think that Roberta Moto had mentioned that young men had gone out and gotten caribou. I think that has engendered, every community in our region has some sense of sharing. And I know that whaling took place in Point Hope yesterday, and villages, have been told that they'll be able to share in that. And so there's a great deal of hunter sharing, and caribou has been dispersed to every home, and it's prepared and dressed, and again, it's greatly appreciated, but it's one more way of also checking in as meat is distributed to make sure that everyone is safe and well. We've also do daily positive announcements, and so we try to do an announcement every morning on our VHF, and the announcement can contain everything from updates on social distancing to limitations on travel and the governor's mandates for quarantine, and those have changed week to week in our state. So we take very seriously our role in keeping our villages safe, and so we've greatly limited travel, and when people arrive they have to quarantine for 14 days. So and as we have not had one case of the virus in the region, I credit that to each village taking very seriously those mandates and monitoring travel. And again, that's been made a little bit easier because we have a limited number of flights, but we do have people traveling by snow machine and four-wheeler inter-village. And so, there's been some monitoring of that. Posting flyers and getting communication out to the village. The store is somewhat of a hotspot for us because our stores are very small, and so maintaining the 6-foot distancing. So we've had volunteers at the store and outside the store to make sure that people act accordingly and maintain their distance in the lines. So volunteering at those places, also at our local clinic, making sure that people have a waiting area because of the weather. They can't always wait outside. So we have tents and entryways that are monitored. And also our health aides, of our 8 health aides in Selawik, 6 of them have pre-existing conditions that don't allow them to work on a regular basis. So our day-to-day health needs are addressed by 2 people. And so basically they work 12-hour shifts, and because we fear that they may burn out, we've assisted in creating volunteer support at the clinic for screening and taking calls, and so that meetings are by appointment only, and doing home visits. So we've assisted there as well. Also, we've established recently something that's not on the list that you see is one of the great stressors currently is people's concern with the stimulus package. When is my check coming? And so what we have is a hotline in the village, and also you can come to the village office, the IRA government office, and by appointment and get access to a computer, as well as a one-to-one either by phone or with an individual, and get your questions answered about the stimulus, because again, that's a great stressor. When is my check coming? Am I eligible? That also extends to unemployment. And so we feel we've been able to do a really good service by making sure we have up-to-date information and that we're able to provide that to individuals and to families, and making sure that they have access to that stimulus check or the unemployment support that they need. So that's been working out very well. We also do daily home checks on elders. We have 22 elders that we monitor, not just with the meals, but that we check on to make sure that they have heat and that their well-being is taken care of. That's the same people that do those elder checks are also doing, we call them the curfew crew. We have a 10 o'clock curfew, and so they're walking around reminding young people, especially that they need to be in and to practice social distancing. And that's worked out very, very well. The last thing that I want to say is also supporting the school effort, making sure that students have school supplies, making sure that they can call typically we have a crisis hotline, but they can get homework assistance now by calling the hotline. They can call and get pencils. They can call and get paper. I can't always help them with the math, but we can also always make sure that they have pencils, paper, Wi-Fi access, laptops, and the things that they need to continue their education. So we've been very engaged with our local school district and our teachers. So we hope that we can continue and sustain this as long as necessary. And it's a story of resilience every day. What we've seen is families get closer together. We've seen greater cooperation amongst entities in the village, whether that's the city government or the tribal government or the school district. And we hope that we can maintain some of these positive efforts after the virus leaves us, and that we're more prepared for whatever challenge we have to face next by this experience. Right now, the things that we're doing to prepare for the months ahead are stocking our pantry, our food bank. We're making gloves, and we're garnering gloves, and we're making masks. And so we have a mask making operation staffed by volunteers so that everyone has masks. And again, we're continuing to get out good information, whether it's from our regional task force or from the governor's office. So thank you guys for having me today. And if anyone has any questions or would like ideas on activities, I also do a daily blog called CV Activity, and I list every day. And every day I try to put some activities down, but whether those are tie-dye T-shirts, kids' activities, or making puzzles, or scavenger hunts in the home. And so I'm always appreciative of getting new ideas or sharing the ideas that I have. So thank each and every one of you, and be safe and be well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andy. You are rocking and rolling. I love it. If you could share your blog site, maybe in the chat box, that would be wonderful. It looks like Ingrid Stevens actually put a resource in there for you if you aren't familiar with the food distribution program on Indian reservations run by Greg Knopfstein at ANTHC.
Yes, we do use that one. That's a great resource. Great resource.
Cool. That's amazing. I also just wanted to note here that I saw Jessica McCool put in the chat that they're doing Zoom exercise and yoga sessions to encourage you to stay active and go outside. I love that. Thank you. And also just to note, Hunter has put a disclaimer in the chat here, just to let you guys know you might experience audio or connection issues due to the high volume on the Adobe platform, and also weather issues affecting the East Coast. So just a heads up, guys. So next up, we are going to go ahead and transition to our next presenter, Yellow Hawk. I would like to introduce Ashley Harding. She is an enrolled tribal member with the Navajo Nation. She is a Native Connections Project Director and has been in this position for 4 years for the Yellow Hawk Tribal Health Center, and she is located in Mission, Oregon. Ashley, go ahead and take it away.
Great. Hi, everybody. My name is Ashley Harding, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about what we have been doing as Native Connections, and on a broader scheme, just what Yellow Hawk has been doing during this crisis. So as you'll see on this first slide, we have a picture of one of the men from our community. This is Archie Broncho, and he partook last year, or actually a year and a half ago, in a photo shoot for Empowering Males, Strengthening Generations. And so this is one of the aspects that we've been incorporating every day into our social media updates, our positive affirmations. And it's just a reminder, like this one's portraying, is that we take the time to take care of ourselves, we take the time to breathe and reflect when we're having a hard time. And so this was actually one of our most popular images that was shared or that was viewed and so forth on our social media at the time. And it really was helpful to a lot of males in the community to see, Archie on this and to be able to share that with other people within the community. And it really uplifted his family and his children or his relations as well. So they're like, oh, that's my uncle. So they were really excited to see their relation, being shared on social media in a positive light. And so, part of our charge, I guess, here at Yellow Hawk is to ensure that we are incorporating positive components during a time that's so uncertain. We do that through a lot of different aspects. We use what's called conscious discipline. And so with conscious discipline, it's a model that we use. We talk about where we're at. are we in our survival brain? Are we in our emotional brain? Where are we having challenges with our emotions that we need to identify how to best manage those? And so we've talked about that within our team. We talk about that with our patients. And just yesterday, we're still hosting very small DUI groups and so forth here at Yellow Hawk for about 5 of our patients that are at risk. So in our sessions that we have in person, where we all have our masks on, we're all abiding by the social distancing standards. But that was one of our discussions yesterday, and it was really helpful for our participants to know that everybody's struggling right now, that everybody is having big emotions about just how uncertain the world is right now. And so to have that space to be able to talk about that was really helpful. And so you'll see on the screen here, these are just a couple of the positive affirmations that we've posted on our page. People share these, other entities within the tribe share these on their social media. And one of our biggest slogans, I guess, is the "You matter." You matter, you're important, you're worthy. Just reminding individuals that we need them here. We need you, we need to see you after this. And so it's a constant reminder that we're posting and sharing with our community members. We also developed just some informational handouts. One of the handouts on here, it says, what is not canceled, came from just something that other people saw on social media. And so one of the things that we incorporated was more of a cultural aspect of reminding individuals that being able to take care of ourselves in a cultural way is not canceled. Out here within the Umatilla tribe, the way of being is called Tumanwit. And so Tumanwit is not canceled out here. We have to take necessary precautions in, obviously with social distancing, to not gather. But in that essence, we're abiding by Tumanwit to take care of our bodies, to take care of our minds, and so forth. We also put out just some fun ways to connect, how we connect with each other that don't involve touching or that does not involve touching. And then on the other side is just reminders for ensuring how to best wash your hands and so forth. And so some of the other ways that we're connecting with our youth and other community members, we have a class that we teach here at our community high school, and we really miss these youth. We haven't been able to see them in about a little over a month now, and we decided to write them letters, and little handwritten letters, just letting them know that we miss them, to encourage them to continue on in their studies, and that if they need support, that we're here to help. So we included resources that included our phone number, youth crisis lines, suicide prevention hotlines, all of that information. And on the back of the card, we put, again, positive affirmations. One of the models that we use out here is called Project Venture. And so it talks about be here, be safe, speak your truth, so forth. And so that was a part of it, and they know those things. They know what that means to them. And so it's just gentle reminders that we're still thinking of you, we miss you, we understand that at some point we're going to see each other again. So those are things that we've been doing. Some of our staff who serve youth have been putting together packets, like yesterday they handed out an Earth Day packet that just had some fun activities to do with family. I think just like any other community, there's a lot of Zoom connection, not only as a team, but with community members who need that support. And right now we're putting together recovery kits for our individuals who are in treatment, who aren't able to access those resources or who potentially could relapse. So we have recovery kits that are going to be going out that just include helpful information, some traditional medicines, some support resources, and so forth. And the other part, again, just as the previous presenter was sharing, that we're also sewing masks. Native Connections had a bulk of fabric that we just had available. And so one of the aspects that we thought about is that part of community wellness and staying healthy is ensuring that community has access to necessary resources. And so that's the reason why we decided to start sewing masks, is that if people don't have access, how can we ensure that they do have access to a resource? Because here at Yellow Hawk and in many other areas of Pendleton, Oregon, masks are required to enter the building. Masks are required here as staff, and so all of our staff have to wear masks, and anybody coming in has to have a mask on. So we're helping to ease that anxiety of not having a mask by helping individuals in our community to have access. And then the other thing that we're doing is informational videos. This is another informational handout that's on the screen. And we're doing these informational videos, and this one will play here shortly. And this one is about social distancing. So having fun with the information that we're sharing with community. We also have one of our spiritual leaders here from the Longhouse that recorded a few videos to share about how to take care of each other during this time. So just watch this video.
My name is Kelsey Burns, Umatilla tribal member. My Indian name is Waiatona Tutaktani. What you're about to see here is practicing social distancing. We're going to practice that in a social setting, 10 people or less. So you'll be seeing us singing and dancing, practicing the social distancing. Okay, before we start, is anybody feeling sick? All right. My name is Fred Hill, Senior, in the Shwinisha Talkalik, Shtanantimki. And today we're exercising social distancing. And years ago, when our elders were sharing dances years ago, one of the old songs that I believe was sung was Wat Wat So Wat Wat So Yokalo. So this song was to imply that the dances were over and it would be time to go home. So this is the same concept to believe of as a lot of us have been sent home. So we just ask you to be safe while you're home and stay sanitized and remain healthy and safe. So this much I say in our language to all of you. Kusa.
So that was just portraying, again, a fun way to show how we social distance. And I promise you, we were all on beat, although the video was a little choppy, making you think that we weren't. But it was a fun time that we all had. We all laughed. And as you saw, we put our arms out to show the social distancing aspect. And we all made sure that we were under. So Oregon, you can't have gatherings larger than 10 people. So there was less than 10 people there, or about 10 people that were there. But again, these are just some of the resources that we have. If you go to the Yellow Hawk Tribal Health Center Facebook page, there's all the other videos, like I shared about the Longhouse leader. There's one about not being able to visit grandparents right now, and so forth. And it's people who are in our community that are really prominent people in our community that we're trying to keep safe. And so that's who are in these videos. So just a few of the ideas that we have here at Yellow Hawk. Feel free to reach out. All the resources I shared are available. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ashley. That was great. I love the handouts. I noticed on one of the handouts it was, what is not canceled, burning medicine is not canceled. Gathering traditional food is not canceled. So very, very creative ways to continue your outreach. Awesome job. So next up, or first, let me just say, just a reminder here that continue to type any questions you guys have into this chat box, and we will circle back to them at the end of the webinar. So continue to upload questions into there. We appreciate that. So next up, we have Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation, and I would like to introduce to you all Scott Barton. Scott is a member of the Mashantucket Pequot tribe that is located in eastern Connecticut. In one of his many leadership roles within the tribe, he serves as the project director for the Good Medicine Project. So I will let you take it away, Scott. Thank you so much for presenting today.
Thank you, Chanel. Good day to all of my relatives out there. I appreciate the opportunity to share some of the work that we're doing here at Mashantucket with all of you. What I'd like to speak on today, hopefully it will be helpful to you as you're trying to engage your community. I know specifically most of our programs deal with youth, but the whole community approach is the way that we here at Good Medicine do our plans here for our Native Connections grant. And one of the things that we do is we have every year a huge event that's open to the community, and we open it up to the public also so that we can share our teachings and information on mental health and things with the outside community, because many of our tribal members actually live outside of our reservation due to land takeover and other issues. So for about, this would be year 12, that we would have held the Children's Mental Health Awareness Day. And due to social distancing, as we're all experiencing, we thought at first we were going to have to cancel it. And then through work with my TA and my advisory board, and we managed to decide that we would try and do it virtually to sort of follow along with the times. So instead of having a gathering where we bring together normally over 32 different departments and collaborative partners to do family fun activities, we decided we would have a closed social Facebook page group called the CMHAD, which is short for Children's Mental Health Awareness Day, Facebook page, and we would do a virtual scavenger hunt. Down in the download files are a copy of what our scavenger hunt card looks like, some of the activities that the kids and families can do. There are 26 different types of activities that the kids can choose from. So it fosters them learning, gives them some tools as to things that they can do. And there's a copy of it on the screen there. We do have two different ones. One is for children 14 and under, and then this year we're able to include the 16 to 18-year-old demographic of youth in our community that are often do the types of raffle prizes and things we get. We don't generally get the older kids to participate. So we were able to incorporate the older kids this year, which we're very, very happy about. And actually, it's a way for us to incorporate all of our kids. So some of the things, that we have on here is just easy things for the kids to do. And as the kids complete 18 out of the 26 different options on the scavenger hunt card, the kids will then be eligible to enter for the raffle prizes. And over the past years, I've been very fortunate enough to do outreach and get sponsorship and support from community members and community partners, that we were able to have things like, gift cards, Google Play gift cards, bikes, different items, so that the kids could complete the activities and then they would get prizes. This year, when the social distancing is over, we plan to have a huge unity or get-together of the community members, so that we can dole out the raffle prizes. We can still have the fun that we would have on the event day, but it'll just be delayed this year. So some of the things that the delay caused that are, sort of different for us, and when we were dealing with this, is that it's not open to the public. It'll be the first time in 6 years that this is not open to the public. But with the changes, it's just the way it's just going to happen this year. Hopefully next year we can reopen it to the public, but for now that's sort of the way that we are having to do it. And the other thing is that the in-person and the family fun and the interaction of the family that we normally have, it's just going to be delayed a little bit. But some of the silver lining for the changes is that there's more total family inclusion. It's not the kids just going from table to table doing the activities and things. It will, a lot of the things on the scavenger hunt card and a lot of things that we're asking them to do will involve the whole family. So it keeps that unity. It gives the kids also something else to do while they're at home, because the schools are shut down and the playgrounds are shut down. The other thing is that a lot of them involved videos and pictures, and those moments last longer, and there's a longer retention time for us to be able to look at the photos and the videos and reflect. And we're talking about taking the videos from the end of the submission period and putting together a video that we can show when we have the family event, so that we can share and laugh and remember the experiences that we had doing this event. Also, we're, again, as I mentioned, we're able to engage the 16 to 18-year-olds. And then something to look forward to as a community when the social distancing is over, that we can come together again, because this really has become, over the 12 years, an event that the community has embraced. The community has taken ownership of, and that's one of the best ways to show resiliency and longevity is when the community really takes ownership of it. This is a picture, a screenshot of the homepage for our private virtual event group. Community members have to ask to join, and then of course we make sure that they're community members, a spouse, parent, child, and that's due so that we can protect the youth in our community and our community members, as they are posting videos and photos and things, and we always want safety is paramount, especially during these times. And then normally when we do the in-person event, it actually goes for only 4 hours. So that's for the kids to come in, go to the tables, do the hunt, and then for us to do the raffle. So it's kind of a lot of things squished into one short period of time. With this approach, we're able to give them more time and let them really think about it, and then when we do the community event live, when the social distancing is over, we're going to be able to make it longer and let the kids enjoy the bounce houses longer, and the games, like we had the live version of Hungry Hungry Hippos, which is always just really hysterical to watch the community members do, because the parents get more excited about it than the kids and push the kids out of the way to participate. It's also, the biggest part is an opportunity to provide tools for the community and help us stay connected. From an evaluation standpoint, too, I know one of the questions was how outcome measures, what outcome can we measure? And some of the activities provide useful data for programming later. For instance, who do you go to or who do you trust? That allows us to get a snapshot of who the community, who the youth go to for guidance and support, which will help us build that network and strengthen that the resources for the kids by reaching out to those folks after the fact. Also, the Warrior Shield that we have the kids do, that gives us insights on the kids based on what they put on their shield. The About You worksheet's another example, and then the time when you help someone, which is the kids showing us themselves how they were heroes or what abilities or how they handle situations when it comes to bullying or their community members, family members, and friends that are maybe experiencing a bad time. And then lastly, it helps with us tracking the participants with the use of the Facebook page, because you can see who's joined the page. You can track who's looking at what. You can track their comments and things. So those are just some ways that our community and our project are dealing with the changes of the social distancing and the COVID-19. And thank you for allowing me to prepare, be a part of this.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Scott. We have had a couple of fellow grantees here, Amber and Tanya, comment on how great the ideas were for the scavenger hunt, and I couldn't agree more. So great job, and thank you so much for sharing. So next up, we're going to, no problem. Next up, we will be going into a question for you all. So I wanted to pose the question and kind of ask your opinion on what you would say has been the most helpful tool for you to deliver virtual activities. This could be Zoom, Facebook, utilizing podcast series. I was just alerted yesterday of a platform called Blue Jeans. Are you using Facebook Live, Instagram Live? Are you going door to door and posting things still? So just go ahead and type into the chat box anything that's been helpful to you guys during this time to deliver virtual activities. So we have Instagram TV and Live, Facebook and Zoom. Okay, love it. Thank you, Jessica. And Dallas says, Facebook has been useful in keeping the community informed and staying in touch. I agree. It has been a very helpful and easy tool to utilize, I think. So if you all have suggestions, go ahead and pop them into the chat box. All right, let's see. Looks like a couple of people are sharing here. I wanted to also kind of pose, oh, here we go. Let's see. Roberta, one of our coworkers, has community VHF radio announcements with trivia questions. I absolutely love that. How clever. I like that. I might have to suggest that to some of my grantees. That's really neat. Aubrey says we have utilized Facebook in our local radio station. Okay, more radio. Love it. Alima says our Facebook prevention page has been helpful. Dave says some grantees in my circle have used Facebook Messenger video chat to stay in touch virtually. Angela shares the Nick tribe in Alaska are giving youth projects to be doing. Each youth was given a certain category, social distancing around COVID, and they're each taking pictures. One girl took a pic of an eagle. This documentary tells the story of what the youth are going through. I love that. Amber shared Facebook, Google Hangouts like Zoom for a virtual drum group. Yes, handouts sent out with educational packets. FAIHP has used Facebook Live and Zoom. Both have been very successful. And Taylor says Facebook really works for us. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. This is some really good feedback and useful tools. So with that, I believe we will be moving on forward, and we will continue to share your guys' feedback and input here, but we will move forward into the next presenter. We have Washoe Tribal Healing Center, and it is my pleasure to introduce Washoe Tribal member Stephanie Mushrush. Stephanie is a licensed clinical social worker who just relocated back to her Washoe homeland, and she serves as a project director for the Don't Lose Heart Native Connections Grant Project. And we also have presenting with her Jay Martin. Jay is a descendant of the Washoe tribe of the Greater Tahoe Basin and Western Shoshone of the Nevada Great Basin, and he is the project assistant for this project. So thank you guys so much for participating and presenting, and I will turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. So let me get my slide moving. Okay, so yeah, my name is Stephanie Mastra, Shungamaheji, Stephanie Dugumdeat Kila'i. We are from the Washoe Tribal Healing Center, which is in northern Nevada. So some background information. The Washoe Tribe in Nevada and California, we're a smaller tribe. We have 4 communities. We're pretty spaced out in rural Nevada. Our healing center is located within the 4 walls of the Washoe Tribal Health Center. We're located on our Dresslerville Tribal Community, or our res. Our grant, Genlet Payes, which means Don't Lose Heart, is in our year 4 of the grant. So we're in the 2nd cohort of Native Connections. As far as our team, we're newer to our roles. I became project director last October, and our project assistant, Jay Martin, who is here with me, he began working as project assistant, I think around May, but also stepped up more duties beginning in the fall. As far as what's been going on with our tribal community and our tribe, our Washoe Tribal Chairman, Sorrel Smokey, he enacted a state of emergency in mid-March due to the COVID pandemic. And our health center activated an incident command team and plan shortly after that, actually right around that same time. And we're currently in our phase 1.5 of 3 phases. What that means is that we are still open and operating, but we definitely have limits. As far as the healing center goes, as a therapist, I am still holding all of my phone sessions I'm holding all of my sessions by phone. I do have new clients. It's pretty new that we're going to be doing intakes by phone, but yeah, it's working for most of the clients to continue in their individual therapy services. As far as the rest of our health center is concerned, we have different protocol where all non-essential appointments have been canceled or postponed, and we have a whole drive-through protocol, a fever clinic, and a walk-in clinic, and medication pickup that's also done using the drive-through protocol. So that's some background information. As far as our areas of focus and kind of where we've had to shift our energy during the stay-at-home orders, it really came down to just trying to find ways to engage with our youth community. So we had actually began doing our youth council meetings in February. It was something that there was a delay in the past to get these youth council meetings started. But we were finally moving forward. We had 2 series of meetings in all of our different communities. So we, of course, had to put a delay for those meetings to be in person. So finding ways, thinking of ways that we could engage with our youth community while they're, having to stay at home and doing their schooling at home. Part of our work was with our Washoe Tribal TANF Education Department, which are all of the tutors and different education assistants who are working with our students in the school settings and after school programming and tutoring. So that's something that's also shifted. But we also wanted to find ways to engage with the larger Native community and provide support because we knew that the community was obviously we're all in a time of need and needing support in different ways. We also realized that we had a lot of limitations with communication because we hadn't had that approval to operate a social media page. We had in the past a grant page, but it kind of had lapsed in activity, and so we're trying to figure out ways with tribal council approval and with approval of our health center director, and we've had a lot of changes that we've gone through. So just trying to navigate through these kind of not complete barriers, but some challenges. So yeah, we just kind of had to do some brainstorming and pushing forward. So some of the opportunities gained were that we were approved to have a Facebook page. We were approved by Tribal Council, and some strengths discovered was that our team, which is basically Jay and I, that we had some previous creative work experience, such as making flyers and doing some video work, and that we were up to that challenge to try and see how we could do things differently. So as far as innovative and tried and true approaches, we know that social media obviously is a really great way to connect with not only the Native youth, but also the greater community. I think it's something that is a struggle in our tribe because there wasn't really a centralized place for tribal members or community members to see updates and different things. We're just kind of still a little bit behind in the times, and I think sometimes some of the tribal bureaucracy can be challenged for that, like for things to flow in the ways that we want it to. But we were successful. I'll just note here, as far as my community readiness assessment that I was starting to, I started doing those in phone sessions as well. So we also have been trying to figure out ways to move forward in other goals for Native Connections. So this is just our Facebook page we started, and I'll just mention some post insights before I hand it over to Jay. So we are a smaller community, like I mentioned, but we do have 167 likes currently. We've had 7,400 reaches on our posts, and which is huge because, like I mentioned, we are a very, very small community. Although we're spread out, we're small. And so the videos that Jay will talk about, they're generating more engagement and more responses, and I think people are probably just surprised to see what we're doing. And so yeah, let me hand it over to Jay, who can talk about kind of like where we're at now and what we're doing. Okay. Are you there?
I think they're there. Okay. Najay may not have been yakana. Why near nani ha? Oh, why near nana when yamba night. Either just a will see like a she look at you. I'm Jay Martin. I'm a member of the Western Shoshone and Washoe tribes here in the Nevada Great Basin. And I've been an assistant on this project for the past year, just about. And the job has definitely had to evolve very much into like a media technician position, which has been very exciting, also a bit jarring at times. So yes, we are currently having to operate by virtual means utilizing the Facebook page, and we're trying to keep our Native youth engaged through video challenges, which is still in development, so we don't have a whole lot just yet. We're hoping to be lobbying and get much more participation very soon. I'm actually working on that today. And
challenges that we put up.
Oh yeah, so our challenges that we have this month, one for each week. We had first how we're staying proactive during our lockdown orders, and how we are keeping up with our education during the lockdown orders. Number 3 is an Earth Day theme, how we are staying connected with our Mother Earth. And number 4, our final one for the month, is going to be an open mic. We are asking for participants to submit videos displaying their musical talents, either song, poem, story, whatever they have, musical talent such as instruments. And what the plan is to develop some sort of compilation videos that then we can publish and show to the rest of the community, you know, like our people's resilience and continued engagement and our continued services here from our program specifically, but also representing our tribe's attitude right now and providing for our people. So it's all very exciting times, and yes, as Stephanie has mentioned, everything we've been doing here is actually being very, very highly innovative as far as what our tribe has had to offer in the past. So this whole situation is actually forcing us to do a lot of very cool evolution. You know, moving into the future and being more engaged with each other. We're seeing a lot of like families, kids, cross-generation kids, elders, parents, all having to engage very closely with each other now. We catch people outside just simply walking together as a family or showing them things that like, oh, this is what I did when I was a kid. You've probably never even seen a crawdad before, but this is what we did. And the kids are like totally loving it because they're like, well, I can only play video games for so long. And now I want something different because they were used to having their day jobs, which was school. Parents as well, they were used to having their day jobs, which is a work, outside, whatever, and then come home and then want their downtime, want their me time, which was very dividing of families. And now that's been eliminated, and now that void is having to be filled with this family engagement. So we're living under awkward, semi-stressful times, but also very exciting times to see our families and our people coming together again. So right now, this is where we're starting, is with our kids trying to improve sort of like what the attitudes of our community towards the situation, you know, trying to keep everyone calm and remember that we are all here together, we are resilient, we're going to be well, so that we can all be cooperative and get through this together. Is there anything else I should mention, Stephanie?
I think that's it. We're just going to continue with our challenges. We have incentives that we're offering. We're also going to, you know, try to get them to participate in all of the challenges and give it a little extra incentive for that. But yeah, just to let people know we're here. And Maligi Gabagi is how you say see you later. So not goodbye, but see you later. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you guys both for sharing. That is some great information. Stephanie and Jay, you guys are superstars. Look forward to hearing more about just how you guys continue to provide some awesome resources and activities to your community. Thank you for sharing today. So next up, we will go ahead and transition over to our next and final presenter, I believe. So this is Linda. Linda has been living and working on the nation for the past 19 years, providing prevention programs, community development, and adventure-based prevention. She is currently the program manager for the SAMHSA-funded Native Connection Suicide Prevention Grant, housed under Tohono O'odham Nation Behavioral Health, where she has held several positions since 2005. So I will go ahead and let you take it away, Linda.
Good day, everyone. I just want to say that I just feel so privileged to be a part of this webinar and to hear all of the exciting and creative things that everyone is doing. It's just amazing to me to see the resilience that the programs themselves, I know we talk about our community resilience, but as programs, you're showing that to the community. And I really liked Dave's story about his grandmother, because I think that shows, the examples that we'll have stories for after all of this. And I really liked that so many of you are creating those stories now online and people are seeing them. And, you know, this is something unprecedented that people will be able to say later on, I lived through this, I did this, and this is how we survived. And again, you know, it's just amazing. So thank you for having me be a part of this. My concerns, and I shared my concerns with Chanel on a TA call and told her that I was going to create a way to track information. When we got stay-at-home orders, so basically everyone went home from work. My partners aren't working. They're not even available by phone most of the time. A lot of people have been pulled off and now are working with Incident Command instead of with their with what they usually do, like the rec centers or different ones, and they're in support of the community. But on March 19th, we received that stay-at-home order, and it has been extended now through June 4th, and we're anticipating it's going to be even more, even longer. So I listened into the TA calls, those guidance calls from SAMHSA several times to at least find out where do they want us to go with all of this and what do we need to do. And what I heard was we would be able to draw down funds if we were continuing to implement activities that were related to the goals and objectives of our SAP, and that we would need to really document that. I talked to our grants and contracts people too, and they said, yes, if we're going to do that, we would, if you're going to continue and not just be paid by the tribe, but actually try to get your salaries reimbursed through the grant, then you're going to need to really document and keep a detailed documentation of what it is that you're actually accomplishing, and how are you changing your strategic action plan to be more virtual, or what can you do within each of those goals and activities. And so I created a couple of documents that I used to get approved for the things that I will be doing or plan to do, and then also a tracking sheet. And when I shared it back with Chanel, she thought it might be something that others might be able to use. So I just want to briefly go over those. Those are available to you. I didn't put all of my goals and objectives on the sheet that's called the implementation plan, but just one so that you could see where I'm coming from. So I don't see it on the screen now. Coming up, there it is. Okay, so I just know myself that, you know, with all of this change, and then I'm a grandma, but I'm home with a grandson who's in high school, who's also doing a lot of online work for his school. And I just knew that with everything going on and all the changes, I really need to get myself organized and organize my thoughts so that I would be able to stay on track and keep life on track as well. And so, and I think it seems like we're busier with all of the virtual meetings and things than, at least I feel that way, than I was when I was in the office. And so I thought, well, this is something that I really need to pull together for myself. So I'm hoping that it helps other people. But what I did was I put my goals, and I started just with the goals, and then basically I condensed the SAP into just the activities that I was going to do. I didn't really need a lot of information. And then what action I could take during the time that we're at home, who was going to be able to do that. And basically staff is myself, and we're under behavioral health, so the clinical director is also our project director, and the clinical staff work with me, but they're not a part of the project. So it's myself and an administrative assistant who's been pulled off into working with the healthcare. So my partners in this case are the clinical staff. And so what I looked at is, what can we do? And those are the actions to be taken. And then who's going to do it? And then how are we going to evaluate this? It's going to change now. So how are we going to evaluate that? And in the status column, that's like, where is this at? Where are we at now with accomplishing this particular activity during this time? But it also gives us a chance to write in some of those unexpected kinds of outcomes. For example, when you see families coming together, or I think in this case, when we're talking about our protocol for our, going virtual with our crisis and just trying to find masks and PPE to be able to go out when it needs to be a face-to-face crisis intervention. It really has pulled our team together. So that, to me, is another part of the status of this project. So those are the kinds of things that we'll be tracking. Okay, I think we can go on to the next one. And so what I wanted to do is really track, like they said, I really need to track this very closely. And so I created a tracking sheet that is in Excel, so I can track hours, and it adds them up and for me, so I don't have to go back and spend the time to do that. And let me see if we can get that up there. Okay. Somebody's working on it for us. Okay. I don't see it yet, so let me just, okay. Here we go. Thank you. Okay, so again on this one, I put a purpose statement at the top of this because I know that several people are going to see it. And I just wanted to make sure that they understood that it's really to track what we're doing, as we're not considered necessarily as essential staff. So what we're going to be doing and why we're working during this shutdown time. And so, of course, it's got the date and the time, the start time and end time, and then the total hours adds itself up. And I was really detailed at first. This is just my first week. And I was super detailed, even down to 7 minutes. But I thought later that's a little overkill. So I'm doing chunks of time now, which makes a lot more sense. The description of the action taken. And I wanted to be sure that I was tracking which goal and objective and activity. And also because I was thinking of SPARS because it's due soon, I was thinking of how can I track which element in the SPARS I need to make sure it is. And then because it's in Excel, it can be sorted for reporting to sort by which goal or activity and or which of the SPARS entries do I need to make. So it's been a really helpful tool in this last month and in putting the SPARS together as well. Okay. And I would just like in any input, if anybody is interested in taking a look at it, working with it, and if any changes are made and improvements are made, that's great. So on the second part of this, the second tab of this one, I did put all of my goals. This is my cheat sheet. So I have my goals and objectives there, and then I have the SPARS, what area of the SPARS that I need to put things into. And of course, this is personal to our project, but I'd really be happy to share this with anyone. I believe it is down in the downloadable files. If anybody would like to use it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Linda. I really appreciate you sharing these documents. If you all are needing a good tracking tool and something to kind of help you stay on task, then I highly recommend utilizing those. Linda did say that she was able to share, so share those documents with you all if needed. And especially in this time, I know working from home, a tracking tool has been very helpful for me. So thank you again, Linda, and thank you to all of our presenters. You are all wonderful. I appreciate the time you took out of your days to be here. So with that, I will go ahead and I believe I'm turning it over to Hunter.
All right. Thank you, Chanel. And as we get ready to wrap up here, we'd like to hear from all the participants again. We are anticipating some information that's going to be sent out to all the Native Connection grantees about doing this national virtual learning community call more frequently. So make sure you pay attention to your emails and watch for that announcement to be coming out soon, we believe. But in order to help us to make these calls very effective, we'd like to hear from you. What else was not covered today that you would like more information or more technical assistance on? And we'd like to hear from all of you. If you would, put that in the chat box. And as you're inserting that information into the chat box, which would be very helpful to us, I'm going to turn it over to Dave, who's going to close us out and introduce our closing presenter with a good song to end our webinar with. So as he's doing this closing song, if all of you would insert some information in there that would help us guide our future national learning community calls that we anticipate coming out soon, we would appreciate it. Thank you. Dave?
Yes, thank you, Hunter. And again, thank you to all of our presenters today. And I know we are at the close of our webinar, but if you don't mind hanging on for a few more minutes here as we try to close this out. I know we had some questions that were in the asked earlier throughout the webinar. We want to circle back to that, Hunter, to some of those questions here. So here is some questions that were for Yellowhawk. Leona Shook asked, how can I get a copy of your handout? And and then Madeline Mainhart also asked, what was your social media information? So those are questions that were directed towards Yellowhawk.
This is Ashley from Yellowhawk. I added my contact information into the chat box a little bit earlier, and I provided the links to Yellowhawk A&D Prevention Facebook page and the Yellowhawk Tribal Health Center's Facebook page. So all that information should be on there.
There was a video that was shown, have restrictions become more strict since the making of this video?
Here in Oregon, the rules are still pretty much the same. You know, we have maintained groups of 10 or less. Like I shared earlier in my presentation, we're all required to wear masks here at Yellowhawk. Even just sitting at our desk, we have our masks on. Someone goes around and checks to make sure that we have our masks on. Patients that come in are required to have masks, and here in Oregon, anytime we're out and about, we need to have a mask on. So just, you know, those are the regulations. Not that everybody follows them, but as an employee here at Yellowhawk, those are the things that we're required to abide by.
Thank you, Ashley. And I think you answered Lula Mariano's question about your email, so thank you for that. And I know there was a comment for Tone Autumn by Stephanie. Very organized. I'd love to see this more in detail, so I hopefully you were able to download it from the download files there, Stephanie. And then just from today's webinar, people are hoping to get inspired, that talk about inspiration that comes from peer-to-peer sharing, more ideas on how to continue to deliver resources for my community, ideas on how to stay connected with our youth and community, to gather ideas that can possibly be implemented in my community. And any ideas are welcome. So I think a lot of your questions were answered. There was a lot of great information shared here by our grantees, and I'm so appreciative of what was shared, and there's so much information. So, and you know, you really spoke to our ways of being resilient in our communities, thinking out of the box, and you know, in the light of surviving through this crisis and staying positive and staying hopeful. That came out really clear for this webinar here today. So with that, I think there is some, wait, hold on. Mark says, Mark Wilkie, we're getting a lot of scammers and bad actors trying to get passwords and clicks so we have to be extra careful with emails. Yeah, I can see that. Stephanie Mushrush, I would like to know how our people are doing chat groups, youth council meetings, and are there specific apps or websites that others are using? Jessica McCool, I want to share that we have been planning for our youth going up before quarantine started. We had to switch the directions and think about how we could still engage with our community virtually. Our team thought of preparing GONA kits. These kits include materials and instructions for different activities for the youth to complete throughout the week. Each activity has a set of instructions that talk about how it relates to the core tenet for that day, like belonging and or some of the other ones, interdependence and mastery and generosity. Awesome. We started each day with mind mapping live on our Instagram and share videos of mindfulness, live yoga, sharing native songs, ways to be creative at home, journal prompts, etc. for our virtual content. So that was really, really cool. We had great feedback, so we are also making the kit for May, Mental Health Awareness Month. Ah, awesome. I like the live on Instagram to start the day. Nice. The staff distributed the kits curbside to community members and encouraged them to tune in on our social media for live content. That is so cool, Jessica. Kudos to you and your community and what you're doing there. So I know we can go on and just share ideas. And then I would like to call on our good relative, Marty Richardson, who has agreed to do our closing song for us today. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Marty, and thank you so much.
Hello, Dave. Marty Richardson, Mikila Kewa, Mima Halawasiponi Yesan, Hollister, North Carolina, Watiwa. Witahon Teneki Pi Piwa. My name is Marty Richardson from the Halawasiponi tribe and serve as a GTA with Wopala and with Native Connections. I just started, and it's an honor to have been asked to do the closing today. Just want to say a few things. I can't think of a time where the entire country is pretty much in the same boat. And someone said that this COVID-19 is kind of the great equalizer. And of course we know that some folks are paying attention and doing the right thing and others aren't. But overall, everyone's in the same boat, and some of the oldest and the youngest and the poorest and the richest have had issues as it relates to this virus. But for us Native people, it's really a bigger issue, and it brings up a lot of things that our people have gone through over the years as far as diseases and other things that we've had to deal with. But I think with the type of virtual meetings that we can have and the way that we're being innovative and change and adapt the way we've always have, that we'll continue to be resilient, and we'll continue to try to look out for our people and look out for our community and our elders and our youth. And I think that everyone, from what we've seen today, is doing a phenomenal job. And I think that it's just a great thing that we can come together and with our ideas and support each other. I'm going to sing a song, just a few starts of a honor song, and this is for all of our people. And hopefully while I'm singing this song, we can think about our communities and just maybe say a silent prayer.
Aho Tonka there, Marty, for that beautiful honor song. And thanks for the rest of the participants for staying on the webinar here for an extended time. So I appreciate your grace and your time. Everyone, sending blessings to all of you. Thank you.